Timothy McVeigh said he had one implanted in his buttock and wanted me to confirm that it was actually there. I declined for obvious reasons. I wish today that I had not been so squeamish. I wish that I had personally checked his buttock to make sure that there was indeed something implanted where he said that it was. But I did not. So I cannot vouch that there was anything in Timothy McVeigh's buttock, but there definitely was something behind Michael Brescia's left shoulder. Now, lest you think that I'm making all of this up, there were a total of 8 people, including me, not counting Timothy McVeigh and Michael Brescia, in the research center when Tim Lesperance brought them in to introduce them to us. Tim Lesperance is one of those people. His son Peter was there. His wife Katie runs Katie's Country Kitchen. Used to be in St. John's. I believe it's now in Snowflake, Arizona. Granny Gosling was there. She was in her 80s. I don't know if she's still alive or not. I pray and hope that she is. But then she was in poor health, so she may have died since then. Bart Chow, Michael Aponte, his wife Sharon, were all there. They were working on the newspaper, Veritas. They took part in the conversation. They listened. We all gathered round. There were 2 other visitors to the research center that day. One, I believe I can find his identity in our database because he was a member of our intelligence organization and had donated some tables and file cabinets. The other, I don't remember who he was or where he came from or anything. He was just there. Maybe somebody else does. So I was not the only witness there. So, FBI Director Free, you are a damn bold-faced liar when you claim that there is no John Doe number 2 and that you claim that you do not know who he is. He's a federal informant, and that's why shortly after they issued the drawings identifying John Doe number 2, the FBI supervisors told all their agents to stop looking for him and to forget about him. He did not exist. Because all of a sudden they realized that John Doe number 2 was one of their very own informants. And that he was already in protective custody. Louis Freeh, you are a bold-faced liar. The FBI is a subversive organization, has been for many, many years. They are a partner in taking down this country. Timothy McVeigh did not plan, nor did he put together, nor did he blow up the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building, although he was a witting fool recruited by someone on the grounds of patriotism. I'm sure he was told that he was going to help squash internal dissidence and terrorism in this country. I'm also sure that he didn't believe that the bomb was really going to go off. I'm certain, just as sure as the day I'm standing here, that he probably believed that if it did go off, it would go off before anyone reported to work, or he believed that it would never go off at all. Why would he take credit for it when he's on death row and he knows he's going to be executed? Hell. Why not at that point? But I don't think he did it for that reason. I think he played his role right to the very end. And I think the reporter that reported what she saw and the other reporters who said they never could tell if Timothy McVeigh actually died or not, there was never a point where they could tell that he was dead. And she said that even after, listen to me, even after he was pronounced dead, he was still breathing. He was still breathing. Dead men don't breathe. No coroner, no doctor, nobody in the world can explain that. Nobody. Now we know that she is changing her testimony because somebody got to her and she's scared, and you can hear it in her voice. I spoke to her personally, and as soon as I brought up the subject, you could hear her voice changed, and there was fear, deadly fear in her voice. And she never denied what she had originally said, but she told me that she had probably misinterpreted what she saw. Typical of the history of these people. She knows if she sticks to what she told in the beginning as the truth, she will surely die. If you listen to the testimony of all the other witnesses, they said the same thing. There was no point where they could ever tell that Timothy McVeigh was dead. Well, if I was standing there watching, I would know when he was dead. He would be dead when he quit breathing. That's what I would watch for. That's what any sane, intelligent person would watch for. But no one who watched Timothy McVeigh's execution could tell us that he ever stopped breathing. Nobody. Nor could anyone tell us that they actually saw a point where they knew that he was dead. Until they were told by the medical examiner who pronounced him dead that he was dead. And then they believed it only because he told them, not because they had any proof that it was true. There was no autopsy. The body went straight from the prison, or so they tell us, to a morgue where it was instantly cremated. How could they do that in a state that requires all homicides to be autopsied? What is a homicide? Any death brought about by the hand of man, including executions. Whoa! How about that? Did you know that the state wherein he was executed requires all homicides to undergo an autopsy? Yet that did not happen in that state. Why? Because the feds claimed jurisdiction, and it was not a state execution. Now, get this, folks. The feds have no jurisdiction over anything that happened in Oklahoma City on April the 19th, 1995. Period. The ground that the federal courthouse sits upon, or the federal building, I should say, was never deeded and ceded by the legislature of the state of Oklahoma to the federal government. Therefore, the federal government had no jurisdiction whatsoever over that crime. The Constitution states unequivocally that a criminal shall be tried in the state wherein the crime occurred. Yet he was tried in Colorado. Where was he executed? He wasn't executed in Oklahoma or Colorado. How about that? No autopsy, instant cremation. Sound familiar? Complete devastation of all of the evidence of the Alfred P. Muir Federal Building. No independent, no outside, no civilian, no state investigation was allowed of the bombing site whatsoever. The building was razed, blown up, and guess how they had to blow it up to bring it down? They had to put shaped charges on the remaining pillars to bring that building down. Heck, why didn't they do just like Tim McVeigh did and pull up with a, Ryder rent-a-truck and with 4,000 pounds of bullshit in it and light a match? Why indeed? Why didn't they just stack up some fertilizer inside and blow those up? because you can't blow up a hard target with a cratering charge, which is what fertilizer is. Ammonium nitrate. And so, the feds never looked for John Doe number 2. In fact, they ordered their agents not to look for him and sent out instructions to all police departments and agencies that there was no John Doe number 2, that Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols were the only participants in the bombing, and not to look for anybody else. How about that? They're doing the same thing today with Osama bin Laden, and that's where I've been getting at. Can you believe what you have been seeing on CNN today, ladies and gentlemen? Can you believe it? Supposedly, a CNN reporter found Osama bin Laden, took a television camera crew with him, went into Osama bin Laden's hideout, interviewed him and his top leadership, his top lieutenants and colonels and generals in their hideout. This is a CNN reporter with a camera crew. And he came out and told everybody, within 3 weeks, Osama bin Laden is going to attack the United States and Israel. Now, don't you think that's kind of strange, folks? You see, because the largest intelligence apparatus in the world, with the biggest budget in the history of the world, has been looking for Osama bin Laden for years and years and years, and can't find him. The FBI also, under the leadership of Louis Freeh, has been looking for Osama bin Laden for years and years and years and years and years and many years, and can't find him. Some doofus, jerk-off reporter with a camera crew waltzes right into his hideout and interviews him. And you know what his budget is? Zip, zilch, nothing. Now, that tells us two things. Either everyone in the intelligence community and all of the intelligence agencies of the United States government are blithering idiots and incompetent fools, including the entire apparatus of the FBI and all of their personnel, or they're lying to us. They're not looking for him at all. And the second is the truth. You see, the CIA created Osama bin Laden. They recruited him. They trained him. They found his leadership. They brought them all together. They showed them how to fight the Soviet Union in Afghanistan, and when that was over, they still continued to fund him and train him, and they're now using him to help bring about world government by making him the big boogeyman, because they can't use Saddam Hussein anymore. Did you ever hear of Osama bin Laden before you heard of Saddam Hussein? When did you start hearing of Osama bin Laden? It was after Saddam Hussein and Iraq were supposedly neutralized in the Gulf War, because they needed a new boogeyman. But they're not looking for Osama bin Laden, because I'm telling you right now, if I were the head of the Central Intelligence Agency, within 2 weeks I would have him dead or in custody without fail. Without fail. If I had those assets and that money, he would be mine. I would own his terrorist ass within 2 weeks without fail. A reporter from CNN and his little camera crew got in to Osama bin Laden's secret hideout and conducted an interview. If you don't believe me, tune into CNN. They're probably running it right now as I'm speaking. And if you believe it, You are one of the stupidest jerks that ever lived on the face of this earth. And whatever is going to happen that they're going to blame on Osama bin Laden, don't you even believe it.